Hello and welcome to Talking Bold with Din and Dan. And this is a show brought to you by Royal Challenge Packaged Drinking Water. I'm obviously Dan and then we have Din as well. Is it fair for me to call you the Naya Sher because you're prowling around in the commentary box a lot these days?
I quite like the name. Naya Sher is a name that a lot of Gen Z will like, and I quite enjoy the name as well. And as you said, I am a Naya Sher in the com box. Being a broadcaster is something that I've just started, and I quite enjoy the experience. It's been great fun traveling the length and breadth of India and also covering a lot of the matches, which have been really good.
I remember being with you in Ranchi in 2016 or 2015, and I remember you had this curiosity about broadcast and how commentators work. Cut to 8 years later, you're at the World Cup calling games. Is it something that you had really thought you'd end up doing?
No, Dan, to be honest, it wasn't something I planned. It happened by accident, but must admit that I've quite enjoyed it. Just the fact that being a sportsman, being a cricketer, you want to be associated with the sport. And then at some point you have to take that bold choice, that bold step, what you need to do in life. And for me, it was about getting into some uncharted waters, which would be broadcasting / commentary. And so far, the journey has been quite an enriching one. The fact that I know the players adds to that a little more. But it's all about trying to explain to the people watching what the sport is, the technicalities involved, and at the same time keeping very light and entertaining as well. So it's quite a tough combination to get. But if you can master it, which I'm in the journey and trying to be as good as possible, it's a very interesting one.
So thanks to the fact that I've been in and around cricket, I've had the opportunity to hang with some of the commentators. And I know people like Ian Bishop or even a Harsha sir for that matter, they kind of pride themselves on not using a particular word twice. Or they have like this thesaurus which they write themselves almost, because let's assume they describe one shot as an amazing shot. The next time around it's going to be a swashbuckling shot. I don't know. What is your process to it? Do you also have like a thesaurus of just words?
You try and keep track of the synonyms of the big words that you want to choose. Like, if it's amazing, the next time you say unreal, the third time you say unbelievable, the fourth time it could be ethereal. So you just mix and match a few of the synonyms. But there's a lot that goes in commentary. Brevity is very, very important. Trying to say as much as possible in the least amount of words. Now that is a skill in itself, which a lot of people have mastered. Then you got to make sure the tonality is good. When you're trying to explain a certain shot, a certain nuance of the game, you have to use certain choice of words and the feel for the viewer. There needs to be a certain emotion attached to what you're speaking. It just can't be very disconnected and indifferent to what is happening on screen. So just trying to get that connect. And the most important point, you got a plethora of viewers watching. So there is people who are 80, 85 who would be watching the game, and also 15 to 20 who are just starting to enjoy the sport are watching. So you got to try and address to both the viewers. So you try and keep it light and at the same time a very enriching experience to those who are watching it.
Have you ever made a bold choice in terms of an opinion in the com box? Say for example, you're with, I don't know, Nasir Hussain for example, who's been broadcasting forever, or a Michael Atherton, who I think are just great broadcasters. Have you ever had to like kind of stand up to them and have an opinion that's different? Have you made that sort of a bold choice?
Oh yes. I think commentary is one where the viewer wants to know your opinion, and there's always a difference of opinion. At the end of the day, opinions are very relative. Each person has his own, and I have stood up against both the names that you've said, at various times. And the good part is, even though they are arguably two of the best commentators going around in the sport, they are very neutral and they are willing to understand the opinion and will give back their opinion as well. It's not necessary that we need to agree on it, but it is part of the job. It is part of what we have all set out to do as broadcasters, and it is my duty to the people who are watching that I say my opinion as unfiltered, as unadulterated as possible.
Naya Sher, right? The phrase is basically, if I have to put it in a younger sense, I think it would be the new kid on the block who's got the prowl and the style, right?
Yes.
Now, there are two ways to look at this. One is to appreciate it and say, wow, man, that is some serious skill. The other thing is for people to turn around and say, look at that, Naya Sher. You know that.
I know what you're saying,
like,
the cocky guy out
look
there.
At him with the Cheshire, yeah, he's like the Cheshire cat, you know what I mean? Look at him with his whiskers rolled up walking around. So you've been a part of cricket teams where you've been the senior, and now you're a part of a system where you are again kind of back to being the junior. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I am the youngest in the box, so it is very true.
So what is the way they look at you? Are you the, Naya Sher, or is it the Naya Sher? Which one is it?
It is like, oh, are you the Naya Sher? It is in a positive way. Just like how cricket teams play on the ground in a very united manner, the comm box is very, very similar. They try and play together as a team. So for a start, they will ask me about things that I know, be it the Indian team, be it the players. That is number one. Number two, they always try and make the pictures speak a lot more than the words. So they will try and help me at times as to what I should be doing, what I should be saying, and guide me along the journey. So far, I haven't got a reaction where like, oh, tu hi hai. No, I haven't got that yet. But it's been one where they've been very accommodating. And that's why I've grown so fast in this industry in the little time that I've been there, because people have been very understanding that I might not know everything, but what I know is valuable in a certain way, and they'll bring it out at the right time.
No, I'm talking about Naya Sher. My cat, which is not exactly a sher, has left some fur behind, so I just pulled it out of my chin. Fair enough, but he prowls around like a lion. DK, since you're watching this World Cup with such proximity, you're literally calling the game ball by ball. Who are your top four in this World Cup?
You know, this is a very, very tricky answer, and I might get lambasted for it. But I'll tell you, at the start of the tournament, it was India, Pakistan, Australia, India, Pakistan, Australia, England. Okay? Now, as you know, and you've been part of so many cricket tournaments, most importantly the IPL, it is never the same. What teams set out to do, midway things change, and then towards the end it's a different story. So midway right now, if you ask me, it will be a couple of changes to that lot. India and New Zealand, South Africa, Australia. So I've held on to two, which is India and Australia, but two teams which have surprised me, and I shouldn't have been surprised. But they are the two Naya Shers on the block for this top four. I can promise you that they've played some really good cricket, and they look the part as well.
Yeah, they look very entertaining. And, you mentioned South Africa, so I have to ask you this question. Is Henrik Larsson Naya Sher? Or is he a Sher?
100% Danish. He is a Naya Sher. We haven't seen him do as well in any World Cup.
It's like
in the last 12 months, his journey has been outstanding.
AB de Villiers is wearing a mask. I'm just waiting for Henrik Larsson to score another 100 and take the mask off and then be AB de Villiers.
I think they bat very differently though. Henrik Larsson is more of the classical mold, a bit like what his name suggests, very classy in terms of shot making. If you go back and see the old cricket manual, a lot of the shots that he plays today still exist. With AB de Villiers, he had his own manual. There's a massive difference there. He did things that nobody else thought of. Now, that's what makes him really special and different. But Henrik Larsson is in a space of his own. He bats at a very tricky position, which is number 5. At times, you could come in when the team is struggling at 20, 30 for 3. And at times, like a few days ago or a week ago, it could be 210 for 3. And then you need to take it to 400. And he's done both those roles really well. I enjoy how well he plays spin. And when you come from South Africa, playing spin doesn't come to you naturally. But thanks to the tournaments that he's played around the world and more so in India, you can see he's got the confidence and he's become the player he is.
No, he's absolutely a bold player. I just want to take you down memory lane on this very special show that we're doing called Din and Dan. Thanks to Royal Challenge packaged drinking water. In the World Cups that have gone by, who are the people who've impressed you? Would you like to do this year-wise, or do you just have some names at the top of your mind?
I could do it either, but I think
Okay, let's go 2019.
the bold questions need to come from you.
Yeah.
You need to ask me the tough ones. So you go with the year, and I will jog my memory lane and find some names that I think have left an impression on me.
Let's do it. Okay, I'm going to randomly throw numbers at you then, okay?
Yeah, please.
2015.
I thought it was the Mitchell Starc and Kane Williamson show. They were phenomenally good. How good were they? I mean, just the way they brought each other's team to the final. And then when the moment came for Mitchell Starc to bowl that ball first up, what a bold choice in MCG, in a World Cup final, in the first over, against probably the most destructive batsman in the World Cup, Brendan McCullum. He bowled that ball. And there are some games which finish in the first over. That game was one such game.
Wow. Okay, one more. 2007.
Wow, that was the Matthew Hayden Adam Gilchrist show. I mean, that final. Forget the final. In the lead up to the final, they were so consistent. Australia hold a superb record. In 2003 and 2007, across 2 World Cups, they didn't drop a game. And as usual, the first World Cup game that they dropped was against India in 2011. Now, that's how good those guys have been. But anyway, going back to 2007, you can, if at all the word bold can be associated along with large, it has to be Matthew Hayden. What a World Cup he had in 2007. He was imperative, which is imperious rather, which is something that you'll always associate with him, but also another word starting with I, and that is a massive capital I to start with. Intimidating. He was scary. I think after Vivian Richards, he was the man that showed the world what walk the talk would mean when it came to batting. He literally could walk into the crease and bowlers would think, wow, now here I need to be on top of my game, otherwise I'm going to get pummeled. And that's the effect that he had.
But you played against him. And genuine question, yeah, when you're standing behind, right, as the wicketkeeper, can you even see anything? Because the man is quite towering, right?
Now when I work in the comm box, he is such a soft man, and I'm thinking, where was this Hayden when I played? I don't know. The Hayden that I knew, the Hayden that I played with is a completely different guy. And today I'm in the comm box with him and I'm thinking, so soft, so warm, funny man. He's got his own, so he said an adage the other day, or an analogy. Oh, that team is as done as the dinner. I was like, what is this? I've never heard of this. He comes up with this Australian slang analogies, which I don't know, only people in Brisbane will understand, I guess, but he's a funny man. And as you said, you know, when he was batting, it was a scary thought behind the wicket as well, because you could feel at times that, oh my God, this guy is going to pummel it. I'll tell you one game in an IPL. So there was this small bat which had just launched, and he was a brand ambassador for it, and it was
the mongoose
a different
bat.
Take mongoose.
Yeah.
You know. So it was a small bat, slightly differently shaped, and they brought out this design in trying to, you know, feel what it would be like a cricket bat to be aligned along the lines of a baseball bat. So they brought this. So he started with the normal bat. For the first 6 overs, he batted with a normal bat. And I was like, okay, he's batting with a normal bat. And then the 7th over, I thought, okay, I was a captain. So I was like, okay, clever move. The Hayden is batting. I'll bring Tilakaratne Dilshan in Delhi. He was probably batting on about 40 or something. In that 1 over, he just changed his bat and came. And he hit a few sixes, Danish. It went on top. It literally took off like a rocket. It went and hit the top tire in the Delhi ground. I'll never forget those shots, and more importantly, that bat as well. I asked him actually when we were commentating, like, why would you change the bat when you've already been batting well? He said, no mate, you know, I just got that bat and they just wanted me to use it, and I was not sure playing fast bowlers, so I thought when the spinner came, I'll take it on. And thankfully, you brought the spinner. I should say thanks to you for that. And I was thinking at that time, what a tactical move. Wow, DK, you're going to get him out. And he's like, thanks for that. Like, that felt so dumb, but you know, he played some of the most brilliant shots with that small bat. I'll never forget that.
some people and the bold choices they make. Now, in this case, I don't know who made the bold choice. You with that decision or him with changing the bat?
Both decisions were bold, but it was more in favor of Hayden, I must say. Definitely not in favor of the team that I was captaining.
I think it was a gold decision for him.
It was a gold decision, correct.
Just went digging right through. 2011, the Naya Sher.
I will say, see, in 2011, if I had to pick one player, and everybody would be saying yes, because Yuvraj Singh was a man of the series. But for me, the bold decision that World Cup was what MS Dhoni did. He hadn't batted great throughout the tournament, hadn't been amongst the runs, but come at the man, come at the moment, come at the man, they always say. And MS Dhoni decided that he will go one spot higher than Yuvraj Singh in the final when everything was on the line. Now that is a bold choice. That takes guts. To go a spot above your best batter in the tournament, your best player in the tournament, and say, I'm the one who's going to do it for the team today. Now that's great leadership. That's a bold choice. That is one that every youngster across the world should look and go, wow, that's how leaders are made. And for me, that was a golden moment in Indian history. Along with 1983, 2011 was 2007 T20 was a game changer. 2011 World Cup was one of a kind.
So we're talking about MS Dhoni in 2011. The fact that he moved one step higher to bat and then finished the game as well. DK, you spent so much time with him. Is he the man who, I mean, is he the kind who will come up with a decision that nobody else would think of? Has he always been an alternate thinker?
Definitely. I mean, he has picked teams at auctions and you'll think, wow, that's a very different team. And then he'll do magic with it. So you ask a captain, any captain, and they would say, no, this is not the team I'd pick. But then that man will pick players who he believes in, who he feels he can get something out of. And more often than not, true to his word, it happens. He, as I said, as cliched as it might sound, if you had to find a synonym for bold choices, I think it would be Mahendra Singh Dhoni for sure. Now that you keep asking Dan, now this is not an interview by any means. This is a conversation between Din and Dan. So I am going to ask you, as a fan point of view, I'm sure you've been part of many bold moments, many. And when I say bold moments, I'm talking about all your experiences watching the sport, all your experiences choosing to see this sport.
Yeah.
In 2003, what would be a moment that stood out for you when you were watching? India went to the final, but that journey, is there anything that just stands on the top of your head?
You know, for me, 2003, the only thing I remember is Ricky Ponting going absolutely crazy in that final. I mean, he should have been disqualified. There was no reason to go that crazy. He could have also hung around, but I thought that was just like playing bold in capital letters. Like the man wouldn't stop. You know what I mean? Like for me, that was that, and it felt like it was India's great chance, because I think right through we played so well, and Saurav Ganguly as a captain was this, really cool man who was, making the big decisions, standing up to the Australians and the English people and all of that. And as a nation, we were like, come on, India. And then that finals, I think Ricky Ponting should, I wish to meet that man someday, and I just want to tell him that, sir, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that.
I mean, there are two brilliant captains, one who had won a few World Cups, which is Ricky Ponting, and one who turned a nation's belief of how cricket should be played. I think Saurav Ganguly played a massive part in that journey where he turned things. He took some bold decisions for sure during his tenure as a captain, where he made some players succeed phenomenally well. And that is a skill in itself. And I think a lot of players always respect him even till today just for that.
DK, we're talking about this, we're kind of straddling between Naya Sher and bold moments. One more person who just continues to be a Naya Sher. He's a Sher, but he just continues being Naya. Game after game, World Cup after World Cup, season after season. You know who I'm talking about.
The king, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Wow. That's all. I'm running short of words.
No, I'll stop you right there. because I don't think we should move forward with this podcast anymore, because I don't think both of us have any words, superlatives, anything left for
Nothing.
that man. I genuinely don't. There are players, and then there is Virat Kohli.
Yeah.
He is unbelievably an exotic species when it comes to batting.
Yeah.
There is rare, and then there is Virat Kohli. There is great, and then there is Virat Kohli. And why I am saying all of this is, there's always this talk about Fab Four. There is Steven Smith, Kane Williamson, Joe Root, and then there is Virat Kohli. These are the top Fab Four. Now add Babar Azam to the mix. He also has come in, but they've not mentioned it Fab Five. So let's stick to the Fab Four, because I think these four have been in a very similar age category. And if you do notice, all these four batters over a period of time, they've been very good in one format, and at times two. A lot of them have been great in two. But to be great in three formats, which is what cricket is played in, and dominate all three formats, is unparalleled. There are going to be many players who are going to come in the world of cricket, and there have been many players, but none so dominant as Virat Kohli has been in the last decade. The consistency, the zeal, the fitness to go along with, the ability to constantly excel every day of your life. And I think you and me have been very, very
very close. Yeah.
blessed in terms of watching him go about his things off the field. We all see the results that happen on the field, and that is the easiest part for Virat Kohli, I would think. The toughest part is what happens post the match, before the match, the way he prepares, the way he is doing things consistently. He used to be a foodie. He's given up on a lot of the foods that he likes. He has sacrificed much more than most lesser mortals would, and hence he's becoming immortal in the field of cricket, I guess.
No, and more importantly, I was actually telling a friend the other day, I said, the fact that he's like, yeah, okay, I'll make fun of myself and you can make fun of me. The fact that he wears his greatness like a t-shirt and not a tuxedo, I think it makes all the difference in the world. DK, what kind of, you've played with him, you've been around him in team meetings and so on and so forth. What really makes him this sher that is constantly like packaged fresh every time? He's arguably the Naya Sher, right? Like he is the Naya Sher all the time.
He's a Naya Sher who reinvents himself every day. I'll tell you the one word that is cliched, but this Sher has plenty, is hunger. Because that's the only way you can keep recreating the magic that you're doing every day. Every match when the team is in pressure, who do you want to go to? The king. And it is not a joke. It is like basically, it's like you can't have great food one day and then not eat for 3 days. You'll still eat the next day. You'll still eat the next day. And that's pretty much what Virat Kohli is. He basically strives to be excellent in his field every day of his life. And that's a very hard ask. People make it, when we say it, it sounds too flimsy. But it is only geniuses, and at times, even though he is not eccentric, he is an exception to the rule, I guess. Only eccentrics can achieve what he has over a period of time. He is phenomenal. I mean, the hunger that he has to go out there every day, every game, and prove it, because he's come to a point where very few cricketers have been. I think, you can think of Sachin Tendulkar to an extent. You can think of, a few other players probably, where the nation depends on him. It's Virat Kohli. I think Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma have been the pillars of Indian batting for over a decade now. And both these guys have had very, very different journeys running parallel to each other. They've been phenomenal talents and batters over a period of time. Virat Kohli is, as I said, I'm running short of superlatives. Ethereal is a word that I'll use. Fantabulous is something that I just went and looked up in dictionary just to say something new about him. I genuinely, I think even the thesaurus, as you said, will probably run out of words to explain how good he is, but rightly so.
Thank you so much for watching us on this very special show, Talking Bold with Din and Dan, brought to you by Royal Challenge Packaged Drinking Water.